Welcome to the Aromatic Pipe, where we'll be talking about the art and pleasure of smoking aromatic pipe tobaccos. Now, the first topic here we're going to cover is the selection of a pipe. Oftentimes this isn't talked about, but the shape of a pipe will affect your experience of any pipe tobacco. Most of the time when you get into English blends, they'll often end up with a pipe that has a nice thick briar wall and a wide opening, a wide opening so that they can have a nice fire going across the whole surface of the tobacco and they get more flavor out of the tobacco. It also helps keep the pipe lit for an English tobacco because it doesn't burn as hot, and so there's always this worry about keeping the pipe lit. For aromatics, you don't need as thick a wall. In fact, I prefer this pole. I broke this, unfortunately, a minute ago, but I prefer a thin walled pipe like this. It actually is going to give us feedback on how hot the bowl is so that we can keep the temperature down and we can monitor the pace of our smoking, the pace of how hard we're puffing. And you want a nice warm pipe when you're smoking, but you don't want it to get hot. And that's what's going to keep it from overburning. When we're smoking aromatic pipe tobaccos, it's analogous to when you're roasting marshmallows. So the way I would put it, English pipe smoking is like taking the marshmallow, and you've seen those people that throw it right in the middle of the fire and burn it and then blow it out. And then that's how they enjoy their marshmallow, with that burnt crust on the outside, and they bring it in. When you're smoking a aromatic, it's more like roasting the tobacco. So what we're doing is, in the marshmallow world, we'd be putting the marshmallow close to the fire but not in the fire, and we get that nice brown on the outside, and the inside will become a nice soft gooiness, and then you have this nice toasted marshmallow, not a burnt marshmallow. That's the same thing that we want to do with aromatics. It's more like toasting the tobacco as we go. We're going to keep the heat down, but the heat, the way the tobacco burns, it's going to burn anyway, and it's going to actually heighten the flavors that we get out of the aromatic pipe tobaccos. I prefer, especially to start out, one that has a straight stem like this. Here's another one. A nice straight stem to start out with anyway. You can use a bent stem, but in the bent stem, oftentimes you'll get some liquids that build up around the bottom. There's ways to avoid that as well, but at least to start, I think it's better to go with a straight one. You can get a pipe cleaner in there and get any wetness out of the bottom, which tends to make the smoke taste bitter. I also prefer one that has a longer shank, like this Canadian pipe shape. The reason for that is this joint where the bit meets the shank tends to be a problem, where fluids can build up and everything, and if we get that closer into where the fire is, the heat of the pipe is, it tends to deliver that bitter taste all the way. If we get it all the way out here, the liquids don't make as bitter smoke. Again, as you improve your technique, you'll be able to use shorter shanks, but to increase your level of success, at least to start out, I prefer this Canadian shape. A nice straight stem with a nice long shank, a bowl that's much higher than it is around, right? And you don't need as thick a walls because we want that feedback from the pipe so that we can monitor how hot our bowl is getting where the tobacco is. Okay? So those are the tips that I would give you for choosing a pipe. Another thought, this pipe works very well for smoking aromatics. The bowl shape here is what I want you to look at, because you do get a little hotter as you go to the bottom of the bowl. And so here you actually have more wood at the bottom of the bowl than you do at the top, which would mean you could keep your feel of your hand pretty constant. Again, you'll collect a little more moisture here until you get your technique a little better. But this is a nice shape here. This nice gentle bend. It's not a full bend. It's a nice gentle bend and has a little more briar at the bottom than it does at the top. It's still a nice thin bowl at the top, if you see that. Okay? So those are my tips right now for selecting a pipe to smoke aromatics. And the next video, I'll be covering some of the other equipment that you might want to look at and a few things to think about and how you're going to light your pipe and tamp it and all the rest. So until next time, I'll see you. This is Steve. I'll see you.